In this tutorial, we're going to talk about where to get resources for dealing with data type conversions and other tools that we can use in the Java programming language. As you can see in the previous tutorial, when we were converting strings to primitives, you can see that we made use of some methods from some external classes that we did not write. For example, the method parseInt in the class integer is a method that we didn't write, and when we are making use of it to convert strings to integer. So are other methods like parseByte, parseShort. They are all belonging to classes that, as you can see, they are classes because they are declared with a capital letter based on the Java naming convention. So these are classes with their static methods, and we've been making use of them. So the question one might ask is, where are these classes and how are they working with our programs? Okay, so let's take a look at a very nice resource that all Java programmers must always have at the tip of their fingers so that they can get information about all these methods that we are using most of the time in our programs. So I'm gonna bring up my web browser and then I'll go over to Oracle's website. So here is Oracle's website, and you can see under downloads we went to Java SE. That's the Java Standard Edition. So under the Java Standard Edition, we had on the right hand side here Java Resources. So under this Java Resources, there is a link to the Java APIs. So let's check out this link. So in the link to Java APIs, we have a series of API specifications down here. Here is the API specifications for the Java Standard Edition. Here is API specification for the Java Enterprise Edition. Here is an API specification for the Java Micro Edition. So there are lots of Java API specifications here. However, the one we are interested in is the Java Standard Edition 8, because this is the current Java SE. So I'm going to click on this to open up the Java SE 8 API documentation. So this document is the API specification for the Java Platform Standard Edition for Java SE 8. So here, this documentation, I want you to really understand that this documentation is used like a kind of reference tool. You know, it's kind of like your dictionary for the Java programming language. Here you can find information about all the classes that are inbuilt with the Java runtime environment. So lots of those classes that we've been using so far, they are documented here, and they came with the Java runtime environment. So that's the reason why we are able to use them. So you can see there are hundreds of classes. There are so many of them over here, and they are well documented. So that's one very cool feature that I like about Java. There's something I would like to show you when you're using the Java documentation. You can press Ctrl F on your web browser, and you can find a particular method, or you can find a particular class. So let's say we're looking for the class string. So you can type string, and you can see here this is the string class. So you can click on it, and you can see this other part of the documentation now shows the documentation or extra detailed information about the class string. You can see here is the public final class string, and you can see more explanations and examples on how to declare strings and use them with system.out.println and so on and so forth. So you can read, go through all this stuff, and you can see constructors that the string class has. These are what we call constructors, which I'll explain to you later on in another video tutorial. Then you can see methods. Of course, you already know what methods are. So these are like the modifier and type of the methods, what the data type the method returns. And under here in this particular column, these are the names of the method and what kind of arguments that they take. So you can see we use the car_act method, and you can see that it returns a car, and it requires an int for its index. So I can show you again in this file here when we were using the string h.car_at, and then we pass in an int 0, and then it return a character C. So whenever the method is specified to return a particular data type, then you have to expect that data type from the method when you are using it, and you have to also pass in the specified data type of variable of the specified data type here for its argument. So that's it with using the documentation. Another part I would like to show you on the documentation is the packages part. You can see here they set all classes, and this all classes contains all these packages that we have here. Now packages are kind of like groups of classes. It's a way that Java organizes its classes into different let's say categories based on what the classes do. There are some classes that have something to do with each other, like the java.sql package contains classes that has to do with the structured query language. So the java.text package has to do with classes that enables you to work with text formats and internalization and things that has to do with text. So there are several packages here. You can see the java.math package. So if you are looking for classes that has to do with some mathematical advanced mathematical and trigonometric functions, then you will find those classes in the java.math package. Now there's one very package that is like the central of all these packages, that is very important among all these packages, and that's the java.lang package. Let's take a look at the java.lang package. Now I want you to also note about this documentation is that whenever you click on a package under here, you are going to see that the package and its details of what is inside the package will be listed under here. So if I click on the java.io package, you're going to see that the interfaces and the classes and all the things about the java.io package will be listed down here. So let's go back into the java.lang package. Now in the java.lang package, you can see interfaces, which are kind of classes but not real classes, and I'll explain to you what interfaces are in another tutorial. Here you can see classes. So you can see that we have classes for boolean, byte, character, we have floats, enum, double, there is a long class, there is an integer class. So let's take a look at this integer class, for example. So this class integer, you can see is a public final class integer. The integer class wraps the value of primitive type int in an object. An object of type integer contains a single field whose type is int. In addition, this class provides several methods for converting an int to a string and a string to an int, as well as other constants and methods useful when dealing with an int. So that's the description about this class here. We can come down and take a look at some fields that the class contains: constructors and methods. So whenever you wish to convert a string to an int, you can make use of the parseInt method, which we used over here in the previous example when we were trying to convert a string to an int. In this example here, you can see here we did integer.parse and we passed in a string and we got an int. So that's what this method does. You have to pass in a string as an argument to this method, and then it will return an int. And you can see this method is static, so that was why we had to be saying integer as the name of the class dot parseInt. So that's how to use the Java API documentation. There are lots of classes out there, like when we use the float.parseFloat to convert a string into a float, we had to use the parseFloat method, and it's documented here. Let's scroll down. Okay, so here it is. You can see the parseFloat, just like the parseInt method, takes as its argument a string and returns a float. You can see the explanation of what each method does, and they are all explained below the method's name. Now I want you to know another technical thing that we use for this API documentation. The terms static, float, parse, the name of the method, like parseFloat for example, and whatever argument is going to take. This information is what we call the method signature. It's what we can use to describe what the method does. Is it a static method or a non-static method? Is it what kind of data type it returns? What's the name of the method? What kind of data type it takes as its argument, and so on and so forth. Then another thing in this documentation is that you can click on the method's name and get more detailed information, like the parameters, as the arguments, the information about what the argument is going to be used for, what kind of data type is going to return, and some stuff that we call exceptions, which we said they are being thrown. So these exceptions are like errors if you use them, wrongly. Take for example the integer that pass int method, which we used here. Okay, we will throw a number format exception if the string does not contain a passable integer, and I can demonstrate that to you by modifying this code here. If we, let's say, pass in a string that is not something that can be converted to an integer, like saying 90q. Okay, so this can't be a real number that can be converted to an integer. So if I save it, then I go over to the command prompt and I try to recompile that program, and I'm gonna see that it compiled, but when I run it, that is where we are gonna have a problem. When I try to run it, I get that java.lang.number format exception. So that's when we say that an exception has been thrown, and it was already explained here that it will throw a number format exception if the string does not contain a passable integer. The string in this case is a string that is passed as the argument to the parseInt method. So that's it with this documentation. I'm gonna stop here for now, and I hope you make good use of this API documentation from the Oracle's website, because you will be needing it a lot. So that's it on the documentation. I hope you found this informative, and thanks for viewing. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to check out our website, and I'll see you on the next video tutorial.